Hey everyone, welcome to episode 19 of Shaman Talk with Tegan. And today we're going to talk about fate versus destiny. Now, of course, there are some people out there who think both are total BS, and it is what it is. Like with all my videos, they're slightly controversial, I guess. But from the shamanic and spiritual standpoint, here is what it is, kind of, So we're going to start with talking about fate. Fate isn't necessarily you running into someone in the street and meeting and then they change your life and it's amazing. That's fine. That's awesome that that would happen, but that's not necessarily fate. What fate is it's easiest to show kind of through your genetics and through family to understand it. So if there is a disease that runs rampant in your family, let's say type 2 diabetes, everyone's got it, all your mom, dad, aunts, uncles, your fate then is to end up like them, right? You're genetically predisposed to get diabetes. And of course, this is just one example, but it's kind of the easiest way to show it. So if you accept that and just say, you know what, at some point I'm getting diabetes, that's you accepting your fate. When the reality is, especially with type 2 diabetes, there's a way to not get it, So when you just accept things like that, or accept like sometimes it's, you're planning your wedding and you're maybe realizing deep down that I don't know if I truly love this person the way I should, but you're just accepting your fate. You owe it to them to get married, or you already paid for things, so it just is what it is. That's accepting your fate. That's not because you were meant to marry this person and that's your destiny. You're just accepting your fate. You need to take a step back and reevaluate your emotions and what the hell's going on. And that goes for anything like that in your life. Fate happens when you let predisposition to things, genetics, trauma, things like that, when you let those things decide your life and decide who you are. That's just letting everything else control you and letting other things and people control the outcome of your life. So in order to stop being driven by fate and going on the trajectory of like, oh, well, this is just what my life's gonna be now, I guess, you need to take the reins. And then when you take the reins back, that's when you achieve your destiny. Your highest self can get to the best point of your life. So of course, even with destiny, there's challenges, of course, but you're not just basically sitting there like, well, can't do anything about it. That's just is what it is. We got to stop that way of thinking. So, when you are accepting fate like that, you're not helping yourself or anybody around you. So I just want to check my notes here. I want to make sure I hit on everything. Okay. Especially when it comes to ancestral trauma, and a lot of my illumination video, my soul retrieval video, I talk about ways to heal that, right? So there are ways to help yourself so that you're not fated to live the same life or the same mistakes. And I feel like if a lot of people thought about it, if you go back to what you know, or go back down your line as far as you can remember, I bet you there's repeated patterns. I speak to people all the time about repeated patterns where it's like, oh, well, I'm in a terrible relationship. My parents have a terrible relationship. Their parents had terrible relationships, whatever it was. Or, I'm divorced. My parents got divorced. Their parents got, down the line. And so it's like, wait a minute. Well, what can we do about this? Don't just accept like, oh, that's just going to be in my life. I'm going to get married to this person for a little while that I don't actually want to get married to because I owe it to them, or I can't stop it now and then I'm just going to get divorced too. Like, it's just what it is. We got to stop that somewhere, that way of thinking. Then the way to do that is through healing, like I say in most of my videos, because that's what we're here for, is to heal ourselves and help heal each other and things like that. So you don't need to accept your fate when it comes to your life. You are in control of your own life, no matter how it might seem at times. And trust me, I still feel sometimes like things are just piling. I'm like, I have no control here, but I have to take a step back and remember that no matter what's going on around me, I always have control of the way that I see things, the way I perceive things, and the way I react to things. It's okay if, you know, you maybe get angry or a little agitated or whatever, but then you got to step back and be like, okay, what can I do about this? Because you always have the control, even when you feel like you don't. So it's when you can break these patterns, whether it's a pattern with a person, or maybe it's not with maybe who you're with, or if you're with somebody, they're amazing, but you still have these thoughts, these terrible thought patterns of like, oh, well, guess I'm just screwed, or I can't do anything about it now. And it's like, hold on. We got to stop these negative patterns that we have in our mind. And so in order to do that, we first have to confront these patterns, right? We have to notice the things happening in our lives, in our own mind, in our energy. So when you can break those patterns, and or you can forgive yourself or other people who maybe need your forgiveness, then that's how you begin to heal. And then when you begin to heal, that's when you can achieve your actual destiny, which is living your life according to you and how you want to live it. What's from your divine highest good, in order to fully heal yourself and to live out the life that you're meant to. A lot of times, you know, fate, we get stuck, like I said, in these patterns or with certain people. All of us have like karmic baggage, so to speak. So even if you're meant to meet with someone because you got karmic baggage with them, you fight, you figure it out, and then guess what? Time to cut loose. You leave the pattern there, you leave the person there, because now you're moving on to choosing your own life. We don't let other people choose for us. We don't let other things that happen choose for us. So when you have your destiny, you're more in control. You have a different outlook on life, really what it is. So according to my lineage of shamanism, it's called having the eagle medicine, which is very hard. The eagle is an archetype. For those of you who have watched my other videos, I've talked about 4 different archetypes in the 4 directions. In my training, you start in the south with the serpent, and you go to the west, the north, and the east. The east is like that final part of the initiation process, and that's when you get the eagle medicine, where you can see things from a larger point of view, and you're not like dragged down by all these other things and people and thoughts and situations. When you have that eagle medicine, that's when you determine your own destiny, and you can just see things almost from afar and be like, oh, wait a minute. This might be working in conjunction with this, so I just have to wait this out, so then this can happen over here. And it really is very helpful. And like I said, I'm not trying to make this video and claim that I am never feel sad or never feel like I'm out of control, because there are times I still do feel like, oh, wow, what's happening around me? I don't know what's going on, but the difference is just trying to relax, accepting that's where I am right now, where I just feel a little out of control, but I know deep down that I'm still in control of my life and my destiny, okay? So a big part of choosing your destiny is the way you perceive the world. And that's not something that happens like overnight, if it needs to change, That's something that takes a lot of work and a lot of healing. And I know for some people hearing that, it's going to be like, more work, like, no, thank you. But I'm telling you, life is just better when you start to heal yourself, even if you're not at the point of having the eagle medicine or whatever it is. Just starting that work, you feel it deep inside, literally at a soul level. And so, you start to notice things like, oh, wait a minute, I don't have to get involved in this drama anymore. I choose not to. There you go. And you often have a great day because you're just like, no, thank you. I'm not going to be a part of that. You can do that. I know the drama's a big one. I made a video about the drama triangle. That's a big problem in our society, just in general, and that needs to be fixed. It's like we get trapped in this little triangle of being the perpetrator, being the victim, or being the rescuer, and we need to step away from the whole thing. Choosing not to get involved is something you can absolutely do. Don't engage in the behavior, don't draw it out, don't pull it out of people, and don't go into a situation being the rescuer that's just your ego saying, well, I know better, so let me tell you what to do, so it's being able to digest all of the things I just said and all other videos I've made, and just trying to live your life for you, because there's better options for you, no matter who you are. Like, even me at this point, even though I'm a practicing shaman, have, changed my views on a lot of different things in life in general, I still know that at this point I am not to like my best self, my highest destiny yet. And that's okay. I accept that. And it's a journey, I just know it's out there though. So on the days that I still feel down, it's like, okay, no, like, I'm still doing the work. It's happening, it doesn't all happen at once. So I gotta just breathe and let it go. But even by thinking that, rethinking my patterns and my behaviors, I'm changing my trajectory from being fated, to, oh, I'm just going to have to live this way. It's always going to be like this, blah, 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 blah. Now it's like, oh, I'm going totally in a different direction now, where I'm not stuck in that thought pattern of like, oh, I guess my life, this is just my life. Now it's like, oh, hold on a second. There's a whole nother way of living that I haven't even fully explored yet. That's just so much better mentally, physically, spiritually, energetically. And like I mentioned, doesn't mean that everything's easy peasy forever and ever, and now I have no problems ever in my life. But it's the fact that once you're on that trajectory, when those things do come into your energy field, cross your path, you're better equipped to handle them and not let them bring you all the way back down to that feeling of like no control and having no say. It's more just like, ugh, why do I feel this way? This is annoying. I gotta let it pass. I gotta feel into it. I gotta accept it, understand it, clear it from your energy, and let it pass. So there was a little quote in a book. It's not very long, but it says, when you have the ego medicine, you detach from your routine and comfortability, and that's when you truly achieved or started to go on your trajectory of your destiny. A lot of us go with the pattern of like, well, this is just how things are. This is how you're supposed to live a life. You're supposed to get married, get a house, have a kid or two, get a dog, get a minivan, and that's what it is. And there's nothing wrong if that's truly what you want in life. That's fine. But I know, like, people like me, there are some other people who that's something I felt like I had to just accept. That was the pattern of life, and that's how you lived it, and that's how you live life in the normal society. When in reality, that's just not the truth whatsoever at all. You don't want to get married? Don't do it. Don't want kids? Don't do it. So that's a big one. Don't want to live certain places you feel like society's telling you to live, then don't do it. Don't accept your fate of like, oh, I'm a female in this world, so better get married before I'm 35, better have kids before I'm 35, or whatever, and I feel like that's slowly changing a little bit in our society, which is good, but there's still that weird programming, it's like deep in our subconscious, so we're still trying to purge it out of us, right, and living our life the way we want to. Or even when it comes to like jobs, how many people who watch this have a job that they actually hate? Or maybe you don't hate it, but you don't love it. You don't really like doing it, but you do it because you're like, well, shit, I gotta pay my bills. I gotta have somewhere to live. And that's all totally understandable. I wouldn't judge or shame at all if you stayed in a job that you didn't like because of that. Because society pressures you into that, right? And this is kind of piggybacks off my fear video of like you get kept in fear because you gotta afford to eat, you gotta pay your bills, you gotta do all this stuff, but it's like part of the ego medicine and finally choosing your own destiny is knowing that sometimes things are gonna be uncomfortable. Quit that job, and it's just like, you never know what's gonna happen. You could find your dream job a week later, a job you love, or start your own business and then you just work for yourself. It's being able to take risks. And especially if it's coming from the heart. It's not just a risk like, oh, you know what, I'm just gonna do something stupid today. It's, hey, I've always wanted to do this, or I've always wanted to get away from the office culture, whatever it is. Like I said, some of you might enjoy that, that's fine. But, it's taking charge of your life is destiny. Fate is just accepting that because of either your parents or because of society or whatever, you're like, well, this is how you live life. This is how it's done. But really, there's no one way to live life. There just isn't. And I know to some people that might sound stupid or naive or something like that, but really that's not the case. It's like we are here with free will. I think people forget that. It might not seem like it at times, especially in other parts of the world, but this is a free will universe. We got to take charge of our lives and do what we want with them. Don't accept your fate, whether it comes down to the job or the family or the house, or maybe, like I said, it's trauma, ancestral trauma, diseases. You don't have to accept, even, I'm going to go here a little bit, even cancer. Family has breast cancer in it. That does not mean you're automatically going to get breast cancer. And I know if you're a medical professional, you're probably like, oh my God, shut up. But I'm telling you, if you can achieve eagle medicine, your body and your energy it does not automatically mean you're going to get cancer. If you can go through and face your shadow self, stop living in fear, and start choosing your own destiny, a big portion of shamanism is the fact that when you do these things, you literally start to grow a new physical body because your energetic field is working the way it should now, instead of being gummed up with all these traumas and these things that are just sticking to us. Your energy field now, like, whoo, all right, like I can do what I'm meant to do. You're actually acknowledging me. You're actually helping me, which is helping yourself. And now, because of that, your physical body will feel the difference. And it's called growing a new body. That's how they refer to it. And it's very possible. There's a man who is a shaman from the same lineage, and he's just well known because he's spent a lot of time with the shaman in Peru, has studied them. He's actually, I believe, a neuroscientist, something with the brain. But he was saying the whole reason he became a shaman is because his studies of the brain, he was trying to figure out if people can purposely make themselves sick, right? So he's like, so can't we be able to make ourselves healthy too? Think ourselves healthy? If we can do the whole, like, especially when you're a kid, you're like, I'm sick, then you can actually make yourself have a headache or stomach ache. He's like, why couldn't we do the opposite? So that's how we found shamanism. And, they taught him about growing a new body. Like, it's absolutely possible to help yourself physically as well as mentally, emotionally, and all that. Whew. Okay, so that's a lot to take in. And like I said, I'm not trying to say don't be aware of your genetics or don't be, not trying to tell you to avoid things, like if you have Alzheimer's in your family, not saying, oh, don't do anything to prevent it. Sure, you can do preventative things, that's not bad, but it's the idea that either you accept that you're just going to get it, or it's something that overtakes your thoughts all the time. That's bringing that right back in and letting it settle into your energy. You don't want to do that either. So it's okay to be preemptive. We need more of that, honestly, when it comes to our health, rather than just diagnosing a problem and having to treat a problem. We need to be doing things pre that, and sometimes for some situations, all it comes down to is eating healthier, exercising, and doing something for your mental brain. Also, a big problem with, especially when it comes to the physical aspect of our being, stress. So that's why when I talked about the job, you don't like your job, is it stressful? Or, you're trying to plan a wedding and it is just so stressful you don't even want to get married anymore. Then don't do it. Stop stressing yourself out for things that don't ultimately really matter. You can still get married, just go elope, go to the courthouse. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to crush people's dreams or be like, a negative Nancy, but like, if something is causing you that much stress, and this isn't anything new that I'm saying, your body will hold on to it. Your energetic field holds on to it. That's how diseases start. That's how sickness starts. It all starts from your energy, and the sooner that we can all learn to acknowledge things like that, the better off we'll all be. And I think it's kind of mixed in the scientific world. There's some people who do acknowledge that your emotions play a toll in your physical body. Would they go as far as saying your energetic field? Maybe not. But again, I'm here making these videos not only to try and help people, but to try and bridge the gap a little bit, if possible, between doctors and shaman, and psychiatrists, counselors, therapists, and shamanism. Trying to bridge the gap between just getting out of just our physical bodies and our physical brains and understanding that we are all energy. It starts with our energy and then inundates further and closer into the body. If we can all acknowledge our energetic field and do something energetic work, whether you see a shaman like me, whether you go to someone who does Reiki, whether you just meditate and you're able to calm yourself and you feel the difference, whatever it is, we all need to do that. And we'll just all be better for it. Like I always say, anything energy work related is always for the positive, you know? So no one, I shouldn't say no one, but most people you meet who are doing energy work, they're not trying to scam people or whatever it is, they're just trying to help. So if you want to be done with just accepting your fate and whatever it is, whatever you're predisposed to, or whatever karmic shit is going on in your life, that you're over it, then start taking back your destiny. And you do that by healing. That is the first step, whatever it is. Needing to talk to a counselor or therapist, do it. Needing to come to me for an illumination or a reading, do it. Needing to just sit and be on your own and face your inner demons, do it. That's the hardest part, but that's the part that's got to be done. You can do it on your own, but don't forget, even though you have to make those changes on your own, it's always okay to ask for help along the way, guidance along the way. Am I going in the right direction? Or, hey, I've realized that I have severe anger issues and I don't know where it stems from. Do a soul retrieval for me, please, and help me figure it out. Will do, you know? So the sooner that we can all look inside ourselves, because the number of times I hear people, whether it's personally to me or, you know, I'm watching a show or a podcast, they'll be like, oh, well, then I'm left alone to sit with my thoughts and I don't want to do that. That's not good. That's a red flag, so to speak. If you cannot sit alone and be alone at all, you know you got some work to do. And that's not out of judgment. That's just what it is. And there are people there that can help you get there. Okay? So reach out if you need to me. Like I always say, even if you just have questions about what the hell I'm talking about, or if you're just like, hey, I don't know if I need an illumination or a reading or whatever, or if you're not interested in either of those, just want to chat, I'm always down for that. So you can always leave a comment. My email's up here somewhere, like a link to it. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram under Tarot with Tegan, Tarot. Send me a message there too if you need to, whatever. I'm just genuinely trying to put this stuff out there to help people, to guide people. You don't have to accept everything that I say is truth. That's fine. But you know, hopefully this can get your healing started, or if you've already started the process and there is at a point in the process where it's kind of like, I don't know which way is up, just a little guidance, okay? All right. So everybody, take a breath. Don't let fate determine what you do and what your life is. Grab destiny and make it work for you.